From the Hotel Indigo on Technology Drive along the Monongahela River just off the campus of the great University of Pittsburgh near the Hot Metal Bridge. Welcome to the award-winning Pat Narduzzi Show. I'm Larry Richard with Panthers. Chris Pickle, 97 head coach Pat Narduzzi. Coach, tough game to open conference play against North Carolina. They're a highly ranked football team, and primarily because of Derek May, their quarterback. But yet you started the game strong. Mixed up the offense plays, pass, and were effective. Went down the field, scored. Things were rolling for most of that first quarter.
Yeah, we couldn't get Drake May off the field, but our offense started off with two great drives for sure, and you wish you could keep that going. But we just never seemed to, take the momentum at any point in the game. You got to feed off each other, and it goes back and forth. It's 14-14, and we got them locked, and you got a high-powered offense that we need to get off the field more, and we did a pretty good job at containing, but there's some critical plays on defense that we don't make and critical plays on offense, but some of the momentum plays in that game, whether it was when we got a block punt on the 20-yard line, did we take advantage of it? No, we turned it over the next play. There's a punt return for a touchdown, which not real good placement by our gunners, and they did some different stuff on their punt return team. So there's just some momentum plays in that game that happened, and we just couldn't swing it. We had the opportunities to swing it back our way, and we didn't get it done.
And Phil Jerkovic was 11 of 15 on that first half, and at the end, unfortunately, took a hit. It was a targeting call, but for Phil, he couldn't return for the remainder of the game. And I would imagine that, it seemed like he was getting his game together and things were going well.
Yeah.
Now what?
Very unfortunate. Not only was it a targeting call, but it was a horse collar as well. And he got yanked backwards, which I think was probably most of the injury. But, he got, they didn't call that one. There should have been another flag for that as well. But they kind of missed that one. But, we got a penalty there. And, and unfortunately, we lost our quarterback at the same time.
So you brought in Christian Bayer. And how would you evaluate? I mean, he came in under a lot of pressure to step onto that football field.
Yeah, like all quarterbacks do when they walk in there. It's not easy. And, again, you need 10 other guys doing it, as we've talked. And with Christian, it's no different. If you went back and watched the tape, he throws the first interception down the middle, and Kenny kind of slows down, and the DB didn't. The DB caught it. Kenny keeps running. And, it's funny. Kenny is such a great kid, and he'll sit there and he's like, Coach, it's inexperience. It'll never happen again. That's how. He's so positive.
That's what he said to you?
Oh yeah, Coach, it'll never happen again. He slowed down. If he's faster than the DB, he'd have caught it. And you just watch the tape and you're like, oh my God, what? Assumed, thought maybe it wasn't going to go to him. The play was over, and Christian got whacked as that happened. But so you really don't even blame that on Christian. Again, on the tape, he gets marked with an interception, but should have been maybe a touchdown pass. Those are the things that we're missing on. We got to hit those. And again, it's one guy here, one guy there. And again, that critical turnover. When we got that block punt, that turnover there is another one that just you scratch your head and go, what are we doing? Opportunities.
Right after the block punt, if you're in range certainly to get points for out of the get-go, but you assume you can move the ball well, get a touchdown there, and it's a whole new ball game, literally.
20-yard drive.
Right.
It should be a touchdown. When you get the ball on the 20-yard line, you got to get 7. If you only get 3 there, it's a loss. And we got 0. It's a big-time loss.
And Kenny, by the way, had a big splash play. I think they marked it as a 100-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. That seemed to really spark and energize the Panthers sideline.
No doubt about it. That was a big time. Our team has watched him make plays on offense, and really not as many on special teams. But we threw him back there a couple weeks ago. Thought maybe he could give us something, and he certainly did. He's got the wheels to go take it to the house, and that was a fast kickoff team, fast North Carolina team. So it's exciting for him. I think it's good for his confidence because I think freshmen at times lack confidence, but now. There should be no, I told him he's not a freshman anymore. It's time to go. No more little mistakes.
And that said, who were some of the players on defense that stood out for you on Saturday night?
Well, we got 5 sacks on Saturday, and DeAndre Jules, is my guest tonight, which I know you'll announce here in a little bit. Big son of a gun. Look at him over there. He's eating a cheeseburger and a Diet Pepsi because he needs to be, he needs to trim that gut down a little bit. But DeAndre played well. Really, you look at how we stopped the run up front. I was proud of because they can run the football, and we did a good job stopping the run and putting pressure on the quarterback up front. But DeAndre played well. Dayon Hayes had a good game, and again, I could pick and I could say DeAndre had some good plays and DeAndre had a couple bad plays, and We just got to have more good plays than we have bad.
All right, when we come back, it's time to go on the road. The first conference play, and the first time I think Panthers have played at night at Virginia Tech in 2 decades.
Really?
Not that matters, but obviously
Didn't know that.
Panthers are getting a lot of 8 o'clock kickoffs.
2 decades. I remember a day down there at night, and it poured down rain.
Well, that was during
the day?
It was so dark here. It was
Wow,
so
that was a
dark.
dark
It
day.
looked
That was
like
a dark
night.
day. I thought it was night.
It was a dark day.
Holy cow.
All right, we'll look at Virginia Tech when we come back on the Pat Narduzzi Show, presented by Dollar Energy Fund on the Pitt Panthers Radio Network. And we remind you, we're at the Hotel Indigo, which is on Technology Drive right there near the Hot Metal Bridge. So we'd love to see you here at future Pat Narduzzi coaches shows. Coach, let's talk about Virginia Tech. They have a coach who's in his second year. Brent Pry came from Penn State. This is his first head coaching job, and they didn't have a great season last year. They lost. I think they were 3-8. Does that add up? Yeah, 3-2. No, that can't be.
I don't know. You're talking about the record right now?
No, not last year. They're 1-3 this year. Regardless, you've got a new coaching staff. As you know, they have this great tradition down there, Beamer ball, and
right.
Bud Foster, the legendary defensive with the lunch pail thing, and
Sandman.
the Sandman coming out at night. As we discussed, though, it's been a while since we've been there in the evening. I don't know. Does an 8 o'clock kickoff matter much to you? You can't do anything about it, but
No, it doesn't matter at all. I mean, we play when we play. The nice thing is we got an open weekend the next week, so getting home at 3 o'clock in the morning will not affect us as much. We just hope the ACC at some point will give us a noon or 1:30, 3:30 game would be nice. It gets old after a while. And you know what's really hard about it, Larry? On Friday nights we go to a movie. Well, there ain't that many movies out. There's not many. You run out of movies after a while. Like, what are we going to do on Friday night? Who are we going to go watch? Barbie? Like, there's not. if anybody wants to call into Larry and give us a movie to watch on Friday night, we're struggling.
That's funny, Barbie. Very, very popular. Well, there's a new movie coming out in October, Taylor Swift, The Eras Tour. Is
can't
going to
wait
be
to watch
now
that.
the film.
We'll watch that after we watch Barbie.
Yeah, I had to laugh
My
this
girls
week.
will love that.
Well, Travis Kelce, the big tight end, superstar, Super Bowl champion for Kansas City, ends up dating her. She shows up at the game on Sunday, and that becomes this narrative in the NFL to the point where they ask Mr. Happy, Bill Belichick, about it. And Belichick said, well, Kelsey's made a lot of great catches, but that's probably the best so far. Anyway, you have had 4 games and 3 sets of offensive linemen due to having to shuffle around. And I'm going to assume
4 sets.
4 sets.
Yep.
Game 5 Saturday night. You're going to have to rearrange. And one of the things that really is sad is Matt Gonsalves, captain, is out for the season, and I know that really stings.
Yeah, that's I feel so bad for him. I mean, he worked so hard in the off season. You think about from January to September, the work you put in for a season, and then for it to be click of a thumb, it's like it's over, and no one thinks it's ever going to happen like that, and it happens, and maybe I should stop getting offensive tackles that are captains. I mean, same thing happened with Carter Warren last year. You lose your top left tackle, and it's tough. And when you lose that guy, he's a not only a captain, leader, but protecting the quarterback's back. That's a big loss, and so he's got decisions to make. Again, I just feel for him and his family, and it's they got tickets to every game, and they're going, and it's just like, whoa, what are we doing now?
Yeah, I know. As the father of a son, my son Zach played football, and when he had an injury and he wasn't there, man, it just stings all the way around. And I know he's such a great young man, so we wish him the best. That said, you still have to line up, play the game. You've had to shuffle. Jake Cradle was unavailable, so that is such a critical position at center, and you moved up Terrence Moore. Overall, you have to it's like a Monopoly game. You got to move the pieces around and see what sticks. But I thought they did a good job, especially in that first quarter.
They did. Coach Borbley did a great job getting those guys ready, and again, he's got to get them ready again. It's not easy. especially at that position. But Terrence did a nice job. Our guys on defense, Mr. DeAndre Jules could tell you just a little bit about the O-line a little bit because he sees them every day. But Terrence did a really nice job, and he did a great job communicating. He's a talker to begin with. He loves to talk. So he really did a good job. Even, Phil said, hey, he did a great job communicating out there. So I'm happy for him. He's a great kid. And it's the next man up, and he gets his opportunity, and he's been waiting a while too. It's too bad for the team. It's too bad for Matt. But it's good for him, and he's getting experience now.
How's practice gone so far this week?
We've had a good week. I don't know if I've ever had a bad week of practice. Our kids work so hard every day, and you push them, and then there's the plays here and there that what are you doing? But that's that's normal practice. But our kids are motivated. They're up. They're ready to go. So I mean, just a normal week of practice. Nothing abnormal. Our kids' attitudes are good, and again, I think they believe in what we do and how we do it, and I think that's all part of the whole process.
And I'm sure they're ready for another challenge, heading to Virginia Tech in Blacksburg, Virginia. And when we come back, we'll be joined by Coach's special guest, as Pat Bostick called him. Could you imagine when that goose egg's coming at you? Big number 0, DeAndre Jules will join us next. You're listening to the Pat Narduzzi Show, presented by Dollar Energy Fund on the Pitt Panthers Radio Network. Welcome back to the Pat Narduzzi Show, and every week, head coach Pat Narduzzi invites another player as a special guest, the big man. He is DeAndre Jules, redshirt senior, 6'3", 310 pounds, give or take.
How much you weigh right now?
303.
303?
Yeah.
Trimming
Whoa.
out.
What'd you weigh in fall camp?
Around like 310, yeah.
So you've only lost 7. I thought you would be 320.
Really?
Yeah.
320.
Do I look that heavy?
Huh?
Do I look that heavy?
No, you just look big.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you look even bigger in uniform. And then with a big number 0, I told you, mentioned Pat Bostick after you made a particular tackle. He said, that's a big goose egg coming at you.
People actually say that I look a little slimmed down in this era.
You look skinny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were talking about the offensive line, and sometimes people forget that you guys go against each other on your own team for a long, long time, through the camps, through training, and even through practice. So that's a very critical position, and you could evaluate the line based on the guys that you see up there, and I'm sure you're very proud of the way they've tried to patch together the line, and you've had 4 different sets of guys in the last 4 weeks.
Yeah, no, it definitely sucks losing, Matt, Credo, and them. But, we got guys that stepped up and ready to take the position, next man up, like Coach do say. So.
And what do you guys talk about when something we talked about, Matt Gonzalez not being able to finish the year? Obviously, you guys care about each other a great deal.
Yeah.
It's meaningful, but I know he wants you to go out there and win and be the best you can be at all times, right?
Yeah. So, we got big Ryan Bear stepping up. We moved Branson to the left tackle position. Ryan's at the right tackle. So we're good. Ryan Bear, he's a big, strong guy. He moves his feet well. He's athletic, so he's fine.
Well, let's go back to Saturday just for a minute, because you guys did a pretty good job stopping the run.
Yeah.
Obviously, Drake May is a pretty special quarterback. That left-handed touchdown pass was just like, come on, man, stop.
Yeah, that was something I've never seen in person.
I've never seen that.
Yeah.
But what was it like facing North Carolina?
They're a great team. Like you said, Drake May is a elusive player. First rounder. We definitely stopped the run of that game. We gotta make more plays through the pass. I gotta get to the quarterback more often to not let the big plays happen. So
that said, you guys posted 5 sacks, which
yeah.
That's a lot of sacks against that football team.
It's not enough against.
It's not enough.
Quarterback like
fortunately.
that.
But it's not like you're not doing the job. I mean, your defense is still highly ranked, and I believe 2nd in the ACC. So you guys are doing a good job.
I didn't know that.
And now you go to Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech is also 1-3. What's the scouting report on the Hokies?
Yeah, tough team, physical offensive line, well coached. the environment there is crazy. It's actually my first time going down there. I didn't go there 2 years ago when we played them at their home. So I'm excited. It's going to be two tough teams fighting for a win on Saturday.
And collectively, you guys talk about not getting the results you want on Saturday when you start conference play. But as Coach pointed out, somebody at the end of this season is most likely whoever the last two teams are going to have maybe one loss. So you got to reset. What is the energy level and the attitude of your teammates?
Yeah, our attitude is there. We're all staying together. That's one following the process, like I said, sticking together, just fighting through during practice, figuring out why we're losing. So we're going to look for it. I want to know this week against Virginia Tech.
And what are the little things that you came up with that you want to make adjustments to fix?
Yeah, for myself, better tackling. I tend to slip off tackles this last 3 games. Just figuring out how I can get better at that, to get into the quarterback more often. Just figuring out different schemes, the Virginia Tech runs, just stuff like that.
What's it like when you finally do hit the quarterback? It must be fun.
Oh, yeah, it's fun. I enjoy it.
I'm sure
Hopefully,
you do.
They got a big smile out of my that one. They like to hit quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I get there more often during the season. But just looking for that win first.
And Coach, talking you up to me about your academics too, that you've come a long way and you've persisted and you're getting ready to graduate this fall too.
Yeah. So freshman year I was a mess, like Coach Duke said. I was all over the place. I didn't have a real structured schedule. So
you had one, you didn't follow it. Right?
Yeah.
You had your own plan.
Yeah, I had my own plan, like you said. But now I tighten that up, with the help of Coach Jules, Coach Partridge, and the academic staff there at the Rats. So I'm good now, following my plan, following through. I just came from class, actually, not too long ago.
What class were you in?
It was a written professional comm. A lot of writing in that class.
Good.
And I'm sure your mom's very proud of the fact that you're going to graduate from the University of Pittsburgh. In case you don't know, it's a really difficult university to get into.
Yeah.
Just to get here, period.
Yep.
Then to graduate and pursue your athletic career. I always marvel at you guys because you spend so much time doing both. That doesn't leave a lot of downtime. So we're going to talk about what you do to relax and more about what your future might be beyond playing football. DeAndre, Jules, let's hear it for DeAndre. More coming up. Next, you're listening to the Pat Narduzzi Show, presented by Dollar Energy Fund on the Pitt Panthers Radio Network. And Coach Pat Narduzzi's special guest, the big defensive lineman, DeAndre Jules, 0. I mean, that's your number. It's fun to watch you play because, I don't know, Pat Narduzzi's defense has always had a reputation for being ferocious up front. Who were some of the guys ahead of you that you looked up to as you were coming up?
Obviously Aaron Donald, Jalen Twyman, Keyshawn Camp, Kalijah Cansey just went to the Buccaneers last year. Those guys really helped me, motivate me to get to my next level of my game, and I really look after those guys.
And as far as we mentioned, detaching a little bit from the game, you're working on your studies, you're working on your football. What do you do to try to relax and just enjoy?
Like we were talking before we got on, I like to watch Netflix shows, Hulu shows. I like to chill with my family, my girlfriend. Play a little bit of games here and there. That's really it.
What are some of the shows you watch?
I just watched, what was it called? Can't think of it. It's like a lawyer show. Oh, Suits. It's called Suits.
Suits.
Yeah. You know about that one?
Yeah. Let's get in a buzz.
Yeah.
I know nothing about that.
It's a good show.
You don't watch any television, Coach.
Suits.
You'd be like the last guy we'd go to as coach, talk about anything about, current affairs in terms of TV and music.
Yeah.
If you ask, what kind of music do you like?
I like a little bit of everything, R&B, rap. You might be surprised. I like a little bit of country.
Really?
Yeah.
Taylor Swift?
No.
No.
What's his name? Morgan Wallen? Is that
Yeah.
his name?
He was
Did I get him
just
right? Morgan Wallen.
he just sold out Fancy Park 2 nights in a row. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable to me because a year and a half ago, nobody I knew who he was.
Really? Yeah, I just found out about him like a couple weeks ago.
And then in terms of being able to come to Pittsburgh, Germantown, Maryland, you're really not that far away, right? So how did they get you to come to the University of Pittsburgh? What was the recruiting process like for you?
So Coach Andre Powell recruited me. He recruited that whole side. I knew John Morgan, before Coach Powell came and saw me. So I was kind of familiar with Pitt. I think it was really my official visit that really sold me on Pitt. The city was amazing. I was amazed by the city, the people there. Coach P, we had that connection. Coach Bates, I wanted to play for his defense. I like how aggressive the defense is. And I ultimately wanted to play for Coach Jules. So that really sold me on my decision to come here.
And you know, my father-in-law was born in Oakland, in sight of the Cathedral of Learning, and he used to tell people, Oakland's like Rome, all roads lead to Oakland.
Yeah.
It has that great culture there, and yet you have a city that's a big city, but it still has a little town feel. What do you enjoy about Pittsburgh, the city?
The food, man.
Yeah?
Yeah, I love the food here. Favorite spot right now is probably,
You better have a good one here now. You better not.
You've heard of can't think of it, man. It starts with us.
Where's it at?
It's on Forbes. End of Forbes is next to like Chipotle.
Come on, RJ.
Stacked.
He likes Stacked.
Okay.
Yeah, I love Stacked.
You like? See, I don't.
–
Stack's good. I don't want. I don't want to make my burger. Just make me a burger.
That's the best part of doing it.
What's your
That's why I
go-to?
go in Stacked, is making your own burger.
Is it burgers?
Yeah, burgers and fries. They have good quesadillas there. But, yeah.
All right,
good.
getting ready to go on the road against Virginia Tech. What can you tell us about the Hokies?
I think I mentioned it before. Physical team, tough team, crazy environment. You know, they're well coached.
What do we got to stop?
The run. Stop the run first, then we can worry about the pass. You know, yeah, they're a good team, man. I just can't wait because I've never been there in person.
That's a fun environment. The only thing that's annoying to me is they got this turkey sound on third down when your offense is out there, and you hear a gobble gobble, and I'm thinking, who's afraid of a turkey? But that's their thing down there.
Yeah.
Virginia Tech, Saturday night at 8 o'clock is kickoff. We'll be on the air with our pregame show at 6. Let's hear it for DeAndre, Jules. Good luck Saturday against the Hokies.
I appreciate it.
And congratulations on graduating this fall. That's
Thanks.
awesome.
Thanks for having me.
Big kudos to your mom and family. When we come back, we'll talk to Pat Bostick and break down the matchup between the Panthers and the Hokies. You're listening to the Pat Narduzzi Show, presented by Dollar Energy Fund on the Pitt Panthers Radio Network. Hotel Indigo Technology Drive, that's where we are for Pat Narduzzi's Coaches Show. And joining us is former Pitt quarterback and Senior Associate Athletic Director of Major Gifts, Pat Bostick. Patrick.
Hello, Larry.
Good to see you, partner.
Good to see you.
Always challenging, when you don't get the results you want, but your evaluation of last Saturday's game.
I thought offensively it was a great start, for 2.5 or a quarter and a half. Really, the game swung on a couple punt returns, really. The punt return for 29 yards after a penalty caused a third down, being short of the sticks and punting it away, and that swung field position. They scored on that drive, and then take a big sack and 50-yard punt return for a touchdown, and all of a sudden you find yourself in a hole, and that's a tough team to come back against. They're very efficient offensively. They got a great quarterback. So you almost have to play close to mistake-free, and they did for the first quarter and a half. It's still, notwithstanding that, plenty of chances in the second half to get back in it and put some game pressure on Carolina, just weren't able to convert offensively.
One of the challenges, and Coach, obviously you go over this with your team all the time, is when you have 11 penalties, that puts you behind the sticks a lot and stalls drives and is counterproductive. How do you coach that up?
It's a great question. We work on it every day. And then you look at some of the calls and you kind of shake your head. So I don't know what to tell you.
I think it's the pre-snap ones that you can control.
All the unforced.
Right? The unforced ones are the ones that.
And the selfish.
Selfish,
the taunting,
unforced.
Yeah.
But the effort penalties, you're gonna have them, and especially with how aggressive you play defensively, and you're gonna hold here and there on offense. I was watching something the other day, guys in the NFL wear the same color gloves as the opposing team, so they can hold and they don't see it. So it's
That's smart.
It must be an NFL thing, but I think it's the false starts, the offsides,
It's what we call unforced errors. There's unforced errors. There's selfish errors.
Yep.
And we categorize, and then there's aggressive, which is an offensive holding, a defensive holding, a PI. You're gonna have. You don't mind the aggressives, you just can't have too many. But the selfish and the unforced, whether it's one time we lined up just flat off, almost a yard off sides. It was a different formation, and they just kind of got too close. It's like those are details. You just can't do that. I don't know who it was, but we had somebody lined up off sides, and but those they're not trying to do it, but it's it's details, and people are going fast tempo. They tempo, you get lined up fast, and then they're clapping and trying to get you to jump off sides on defense. So there's all kinds of stuff. In the NFL, they don't let you clap. That clap can make you jump pretty quick, but the clapping is interesting.
Yeah, a lot of people might not know that. In the NFL, you're not allowed to do that, but teams do it all the time. And
everybody does it.
Yeah.
I bet you every team we played this year on offense uses a clap.
And then they all turn to the sideline to get the call or the change, the audibles. When we come back, though, let's dig into Virginia Tech. We're with Pat Bostick. You're listening to the Pat Narduzzi Show, presented by Dollar Energy Fund on the Pitt Panthers Radio Network. At Hotel Indigo, we're with Pat Bostick, former Pitt quarterback, along with head coach Pat Narduzzi, talking about Virginia Tech this weekend, ACC action on the road. And here's what you need to know. Brought to you by PNC Bank. Make today the day. It always starts, Pat, with the quarterback. And they've had two quarterbacks they've utilized in their first 4 games. Talk about Grant Wells and Kyron Drones.
Well, Wells was a Marshall transfer from a year before. Played against us last year. Efficient, can run. But I think they probably trusted him more going into the year. Brought the Drones kid in from Baylor, right?
Yes.
In the offseason. Big, athletic, like 6'3", 230, 6'2", 230, can run. I don't think the scheme changes a whole lot. Potentially the frequency, what they're going to call the quarterback runs, probably changes somewhat between the two. But
they
again,
ran Grant last year too, so they ran the counters with him and ran him. So, but if he's in there, probably less counter, just with depending on how he's feeling and what that injury is.
They said it was the lower leg, so you don't know what that is. But the Drones kid's improved. He pops on film. He can whip it. He can throw the ball. They've just been banged up on the perimeter. They've been banged up on defense. So a lot of two banged up football teams kind of going into this game.
Yeah, and one of the challenges we talked earlier in the show with Coach is 4 games, 4 sets of offensive linemen, and
that's a challenge.
That's
yeah, I think that's a challenge.
I mean, in a perfect world, you've got a set that you can, go with and roll every week, but the reality and the practicality of that just didn't happen.
And it's been about 17 games of that since last year. I mean, there were a lot of injuries up front last year, and I'll say this, I thought the 6 that played Saturday did a terrific job, given the circumstances. Obviously not a winning performance, but given the circumstances against a veteran D-line, the protection was better, ran the ball effectively. You had a lot of concerns going into that game with 2 guys making their first starts against a D-line that had a lot of career starts. So
not only was that D-line big and athletic and veteran. I mean, they were big, athletic, as well as being a veteran, group of guys. There were some big dudes out there.
And then you got into a drop-back game where you have to try to come back. So not the game plan, and they held up. So, I mean, obviously got to be better, but that bodes well moving forward because that's a pretty good D-line they faced last week.
Well, it was very encouraging, certainly start the game. And Phil Jurkovec, he's been under a lot of pressure. 11 of 15, he was very efficient and was playing well. Unfortunately, he got knocked out of the game toward the end of the half.
Yeah, he got hit high and low. So it was that was a tough one. Got up, bounced it off, and obviously wasn't able to finish the game. But I thought he played great to start that quarter and 3 quarters. Really did a nice job distributing the ball. Made some throws under duress. Probably some balls that still could have been caught too. that were critical situations where you had to settle for 3. But I thought Phil gave him a chance in that first half, and hopefully he's able to come back, at some point, because that was the kind of football this team can play offensively.
And how do you evaluate Virginia Tech? You mentioned their injury issues and their adversity under second-year head coach came from Penn State, and you've got a 1-3 record, and so both teams desperately need a win.
Yeah, I mean, they played 2 Power 5 teams before Marshall as well, 2 Power 5 non-conference Big Ten teams, and came up on the other end of it. They're struggling to stop the run, at least statistically. I thought last week, some big runs skewed those stats. There were some long runs by Marshall that skewed the stats probably, but they've given up 200-plus in 3 of their 4 games and 178 against Purdue, who really doesn't run the ball. So that obviously they're trying to fix that for sure, and I think they know that Pitt wants to come in and try to run the football with how they've been offensively the last 2 seasons. They've got experience. They've got some guys inside that have played a lot of football defensively, but they've had the injury bug. And I think obviously they've had an unsuccessful past couple years, and they're pressing. But this is a whiteout game for them. It's a night game in Blacksburg. They're going to be juiced up, and it's an ACC opener for them. So this is a big one.
And a big one for the University of Pittsburgh. So how do you get your guys up for the game, Coach, heading down to Virginia Tech?
I think we won't get too high, we won't get too low. We'll just stay right in the middle and get our guys going just like we normally do. They'll be ready to go for the game. I think they'll be excited to play, on the road. I think they like those road atmospheres, and we got to go make plays. We got to finish.
That's the message.
Yeah, it sounds pretty good. I'm ready to roll.
You ready, Pat?
I'm ready to go. Yeah.
Let's go.
We got a long way to go. 8 o'clock game. We got a night game.
Again?
Get down to
We got a night
Virginia.
game?
We do. We got a night game.
I just got a text from a coach at Kansas, like, what's up with all these night games you guys are playing?
Prime time Panthers, baby.
I mean, we got what on the road? We know 2 3:30 kickoffs. You got Notre Dame, and then you've got Syracuse at Yankee Stadium on.
This is really
Veterans
affecting
Day.
your social life, isn't it, Larry?
Well,
I think that's your biggest concern. You're looking forward to see what games we have that aren't at night.
it's
you got
not
Boston
about
College
me. It's
tonight.
about we.
Well,
Pat.
Larry
Oui,
Fitzgerald
oui.
did call you Larry Legend, so that's
Larry Fitzgerald said that.
so on the broadcast. He's interviewing me. He goes, "Let's just get this clear." Larry Fitzgerald goes, "He's the real Larry Legend. He forgot the down and distance. He had no idea what was going on after that."
He threw me, Coach. We were on the sidelines, and Larry was about to go upstairs.
We had someone on the sideline bird dog him just to make sure he was okay. I was worried.
Thanks, Pat. I appreciate it.
But you're here, so we're good.
So I'll tell you what the call was, right? I'm talking to Larry. I wanted to make sure I got Larry Fitzgerald, right, on the broadcast for the network. So we're on the sideline and, congratulate Larry for being a University of Pittsburgh Athletic Hall of Famer. And he goes, well, when they say Larry Legend, they're talking about you. And
He froze.
I just went
He
blank.
froze. He blacked out. It was like 4th and 14. He goes, they got to be wary for a.
No.
They might go for it here. They only need 4 yards. He thought the line of
I
scrimmage
didn't.
was.
No, wait, let me make this clear. So
We had fun with that one.
I'm looking, I see the stick, and then I see the ball, and I completely forgot where we were. And it looked like 4th down and 4, they're going to punt. And I said, be careful, try to draw you off sides. And those guys,
Offsides. There you go.
they go, it's 4th and 14, Larry. So I'm going to blame Larry Fitzgerald.
But you're always in punt safe mode. I get it. So you're just a punt safe guy.
I mean, that was
We love you, man. That was great.
By the way, that was a great night for all of the inductees on Friday for the 5th Hall of Fame event.
Well, you do a great job hosting it. Allison does a good job putting it together. EJ was the star on the screen with all the videos. I want to give a shout out to Greg Daniels. We don't talk about Greg a lot, but Greg does an outstanding job with all the videos he does. And for football, for the department, he is a stud and, behind the scenes totally, but deserves some credit publicly.
And as far as football players inducted, there was also Reuben Brown. And when you look at his stats, it just
He should be in Canton.
Gifted, amazing athlete. Then you also had Matt Cavanaugh, obviously the most famous Sports Illustrated cover.
Cheney High School.
Pitt is it. Yeah, there's some Youngstown connection. What is it about
There were
Youngstown,
a lot of
Coach?
Youngstown guys in
The
the
Pelusi's,
good football
John and
up there.
JC.
Yeah.
Not only Matt, but DJ Cavanaugh,
Jerry O.
Jerry O, who was around forever with Pitt, obviously, and then
Darren
the
Hall.
Steelers. Yeah, what's in the water out there in Youngstown?
Oh, man, it's just a
Mercury,
tough little
steel.
city. Murky. Yeah, it's murky water, that's for sure.
That's nice, Pat.
Well,
You're surly.
You going to jump in the mon and take a drink? No.
He's surly, Coach.
You know what? I'm just having a good time. I'm here for a good time.
All right, you all right?
I'm great. It's 4th and 14. Punt safe. We're good.
Oh, man. You know what? You make one mistake, Coach, and that's what they fixate on, the media.
I know how it is. Hey, I know how it is. I know how it is.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
They forgot all the other correct calls the rest of the
right,
game.
no doubt.
They only focus
One
on the
call.
one.
It's all good, man.
All right, well, let's hear it for Pat Bostick, and we'll look forward to Pat Bostick, color analyst, and we appreciate.
I'm bound to make a big mistake Saturday. Karma's a rough one, so here we go.
Yeah, well, we'll tell Coach about the other one in the break here. Coming up, some final thoughts with Coach Pat Narduzzi. You're listening to the Pat Narduzzi Show, presented by Dollar Energy Fund on the Pitt Panthers Radio Network. Go on the road, Blacksburg, Virginia. Virginia Tech. They are 1-3. The Panthers are 1-3. Lane Stadium, 65,000 on the natural surface. Should be a great college football atmosphere. 8 o'clock kick. So, Coach, I know you'd want to start trying to stack some wins and get 0-1 this week. How do you do it?
Want to get 1-0. Did you say 0-1? Golly.
I'm
It's
talking
1-0.
about
We
faux
want to
pas
be
with
we
Pat
want to be
Bostick.
1-0, and Bostick has got you all messed up. But no, we've got to. It's a big game for us. We got we're on the road, and we got to get back on track. No better time down in Blacksburg with a whiteout. Should be a heck of an atmosphere.
And how is the team dealing with adversity? Because when you don't get the results you want, it comes with a lot of criticism, and you put a lot of pressure on yourself to change the narrative.
Yeah, we talk all off season about it. We try to put them in adverse situations during camp, during winter, conditioning, during spring ball, all those times. I mean, and again, our kids go through adversity every day. I mean, there's things going on in their lives, so it's part of life. And our guys understand that nothing's going to be perfect. And I tell our guys before every game that hey, it's not going to be easy. There's going to be adversity, every other play probably. So you deal with it play by play. You deal with it day by day and game by game.
And as far as getting ready for the weekend, you'll have your perfect Thursday. Take us through what you do tomorrow.
Tomorrow we have again, we'll meet in the morning, watch our practice from today and make all the corrections and then go out and do it again. But we'll practice in the morning at 10 o'clock and we'll go out and get it done. And then that'll be the finishing touches on the game plan. And then we'll have a walkthrough on Friday before we jump on a flight down to Blacksburg. And
you stay in Roanoke, right?
Stay in Roanoke.
Then you got the ride into Blacksburg. It's a nice atmosphere down there. There's that's basically all there is Virginia Tech.
Yeah, it'll be a good atmosphere. I know you and Bostick will be chewing on some turkey legs, I guess, or something like that.
Very popular down there.
Yeah, so I'm sure I'll see you on the sideline with a big turkey leg in your hand.
And I'll see you on the field. Let's hear it for Coach Pat Narduzzi getting ready for on the road in ACC play against Virginia Tech. Coach, thank you, and we'll see you on the sideline.
Sounds great. Thanks. Hail to Pitt.